three beakers with us which have three types of containers. Okay, and in this we have solution A, B, and C. Okay, now suppose this is how we will see this, that this now suppose all each and every beaker, all the three types of containers are filled with H2O. Okay, you have H2O over here, and this as a solvent. Okay, and we will see this with the that it should be of equal amount. That means suppose if you have 1000 ml of solvent, that is H2O, in this beaker, and it is filled with it. Now suppose what we have to see here, that we will start adding the solutes. Let's have an example. Suppose if we take the salt as a solute. Okay, now let's relate this with the number, that if this particular beaker is having 1000 number of H2O. Okay, so this is how we will relate it. It will be easier with the number to understand. So with 1000 ml of H2O, do understand that one molecule of H2O can dissolve one molecule of solute. This is how we will understand that one H2O can take up one molecule of the solute, and it can dissolve it, and that's how that 1000 number of H2O can hold 1000 salt molecules within it. So that means the tendency of this particular solvent to dissolve the solute is till the free H2O molecule is available. Okay, so see this, that suppose if we add suppose if I add 100 salt molecules over here. Okay, so that means if I add 100 over here, now see that this is the salt. Right now it's completely water. Here also complete water is there, and I have added 100 salt molecules in this particular beaker A. Now this beaker A is considered as a solution. These B and C are not the solutions. See, when solvent and solute will combine, then only it will be considered as a solution. So till now, this is only a pure water, and let's add 100 molecules of salt here, and just have this, that you add, suppose take up this, that if you go for 300 salt molecules here, and add 50 salt molecules over here. Now suppose this beaker are divided with a semi-permeable membrane. Let me divide this. This is a semi-permeable membrane. Fine. Here also we are dividing B and C with the semi-permeable membrane. Is it clear to you? So if we are doing this, suffering from cold today. So if we take up this semi-permeable membrane, then see that definitely the movement of solvent will occur. Can you understand this?
Yes, miss. My mic was not opening. Sorry for the
Oh,
delay.
oh no, it's not your
Yes,
fault.
yes,
Okay,
understanding.
so definitely the solvent movement of solvent molecules will start through this semi-permeable membrane, because we are talking about osmosis and it is about the movement of solvent. Okay, so uh, here what will happen, that now you have to compare, that what you are comparing right now is that the most concentrated solution out of A, B and C is the highly concentrated solution,
Miss A.
the most concentrated, the one which is the highly concentrated.
Miss then B.
Yes, so B is let me start this. So B is considered as the highly, at the beginning. We are writing this at the beginning of the experiment. Highly concentrated solution. Okay. And C, as we are comparing these three, C will be the most least concentrated solution. And A is the one which is in between of these two. Okay, so this is how you are comparing the solutions right now. Now see this, that movement of water molecule will occur from, definitely it will water will move from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. So here free water molecules are little bit less. You have only, because 300 salt molecules are there, now free water molecules are only 700. Okay, while here they are 950.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and here they are 900 free water molecules we are talking about after adding the salt molecules. So that means the wherever the water molecules are much more free, the water will move from that place to the place where the water is less. So definitely the movement of water will occur from C to B.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and here also it will occur from A to B. This will happen.
Yes, miss. Yes.
Okay, so movement of what solvent molecules will from its higher concentration to its lower concentration is happening. Now this movement will take place until and unless these three beakers are same again with the concentration of solute and solvent, till it is balanced. Okay, so this will happen uh, uh, because in between you have semi-permeable membrane. So this process will occur at, till all the three solutions become equally balanced with each other. So this is how the process of osmosis can occur for cells also. Okay, now what we have to see, that types of solutions, if we are saying that with the base when we are talking about osmosis, you have to understand that because B is very much concentrated, this particular, if I compare uh, B and C, then B is much more concentrated than C. If I talk about these two, so B is hypertonic with comparison to the C. It is hypertonic than C. Can I say that?
Yes, miss.
Okay, and if I compare A and B, then definitely again B is hypertonic than A.
Yes, miss.
Okay, fine. Now compare A and C. Then A is hypertonic than C.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so I can say that because it is highly concentrated solution, the most concentrated one is called hypertonic in nature, while C is hypotonic solution. Hypotonic means less solutes. Okay, so this is these two types of solutions are the one which is carrying out the osmosis. Now, uh, this process will take place till all the free water molecules are equally balanced for these three beakers, and all the solute whatever is present inside it must be dissolved, and that should be equally balanced. When this will happen, then all the solutions will become isotonic.
Yes, miss. Same concentration.
Same concentration will occur. Once the solutions are isotonic, then the process of osmosis will stop. Understood?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so process of osmosis will occur until and unless the solutions are hypertonic and hypotonic in nature when they are compared with each other. Now see, if you have only one beaker with you and you are adding solute molecules, you are adding solvents in it, and you are preparing a solution, then you cannot say it is hypertonic or hypotonic. Understood? It is completely purely based on the comparison. This term should be used on the basis of comparison only. Single solution or single cell cannot be named as hyper or hypo. Understood this?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so this is how you should say that hypertonic solution is there. Hypotonic. Am I free with my good with my voice today? Because today I have little bit of infection.
No, miss, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, fine.
It's
So
fine.
yeah, thank you. So this is how it is happening: hypertonic and hypotonic solutions. So this you should know when you are reading about the osmosis. So hypertonic hypotonic solutions, if they are placed together, that means if we take two beakers and so definitely movement of water molecules will take place from this side to this side, because this one is having a free H2O molecules, and here the free H2O molecules are less. So that means solute is a little bit more over on this side. So that's why the movement is occurring, and this is called as hypo, and while this one should be considered as hyper. So in osmosis, what happens that uh, the solution is which is hypotonic in nature will give you the water molecules to the cell which is hypertonic in nature. Understood this?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so that is what is happening with these types of solution. Now you have lot of experiments in your textbook, and you can read them, but one of them is there that if you take one funnel and you fill it up with the sugar solution, something like that is given, that if you have a funnel and it should be filled with sugar solution and placed in one beaker filled with H2O. Now, and this surface of this funnel should be covered with the cellophane paper. If we do this, cellophane paper, okay, then you can see that after some time, if you give some time to it, then this H2O will start its movement from this cellophane paper inside this funnel, and the sugar solution, if in the beginning it is showing, just mark the height of it, and after some time you can see that there is a rise in the level of the sugar solution inside the funnel. That means you can prove that H2O molecules are moving inside the funnel. So this you can prove that osmosis is there, and hypotonic, that means pure water is moving from beaker to the funnel. And you can give a uh, counter activity for this, that you can change this, because cellophane paper is a semi permeable membrane. It's a semi permeable one. You can have with this, you can change this or replace it with the rubber sheet. You can change it with the cloth, muslin cloth or something like that. Muslin cloth, because it is widely used for the experiments, because it has less reactivity and all that, so it supports the experiment very truly. So you can just replace it, and you can see that what is the difference, because rubber sheet is completely impermeable, so it will not allow this process to occur. And muslin cloth is the pores of these cloth is too big, so it cannot hold that semi permeability property. So the exchange will be like it will be free, the sugar will also move, the H2O will also move, and everything will get mixed. So cloth cannot maintain that semi permeable property. This is how you can counter this particular experiment. So this can be done. And there are a lot of experiments in at your home also you can do. If you have, that means just you don't have to use this large apparatus for this. Just have a potatoes, okay, and do one thing, that in take two same type of bowls at your home, okay, and you can see the process of sorry, the process of osmosis. In that, what you have to do, that take two bowls and put almost equal size. You cannot find definitely the same type of potatoes, but almost equal type of potatoes you can have. Just peel them, and from the base, you just make them so that it can sit inside this bowl. Like this, you have to keep the potato. Okay. Just cut a little bit for the providing the base for it. And in this, just create suppose if this is the potato, just peel it, like put the knife inside it, and create a small ditch inside it, so that it can be like if I say something like this, you can prepare. Just removing little bit of potatoes from this, and this is how you can prepare a place where you can put the solution. And just to take two of them, or you can they have the third one also for the isotonic and all that observation. But in this, what you can do, just put either honey, because honey is highly concentrated. And if you have a sugar solution, like if you are having the rasgulla solution and all that, you can put that. That will act as a sugar solution. So put the sugar solution here, okay, and in one another one, put the sugar solution in the beaker. Okay, you can do this. Then what you have to do is fill this uh, particular bowl with the water, H2O, and here you have to put the water over here. Just see that you mark everything whatever you are doing. If you are putting up the sugar solution till here, okay, so what you will do inside the potato to mark it, just pinch your paper pin over here for the marking of the level of the sugar solution, or pinch just the toothpick is little bit wider, it can put the hole also, so just you can use that paper pin through which you can mark the level. And here also you should mark the level of H2O. Just mark it with the pin, and mark the with your marker from the outside. You can mark the water level also, and put it for almost 1 hour without disturbing. And then you can see that how the water molecule is moving. You can see the difference. So in suppose first one is this, so what will happen in this, that water will move from this because this is a potato, and the whole layer of it will act as a semi permeable membrane because it's a cell. So water will move, and here you can see the rise in the sugar solution. And here what will happen, the you can see the downfall of H2O over here. That you can compare. This you can do at your home without any apparatus and all that. Okay, so this is how hyper and hypotonic solution. This experiment I just told you that because there are a lot of things are given in your textbook, and they are full of apparatus and all that. So no need to do all these things. Definitely you will watch all the videos, or you will see those experiments on the apps, and you can see them. But this you can do at your home on your own. Just if you have the time, right now you do have the exams, don't do that for that. But when you have the time, you can see this on your own. So that is how hypertonic and hypotonic movement of solvent, this you can compare. So this is how the types of solutions can be studied with the on the basis of osmosis. Now after this, if you are referring to this particular thing, then we should have the word that is endoosmosis and exoosmosis. See this, that endo means to move inside, exo means to move outside. So when this is happening, that means when endoosmosis is happening, suppose if this is a cell, and in this cell endoosmosis is occurring, that means movement of H2O is occurring from out to in. This you see at your home when your mother does it, just for sprouting some of the pulses and chana and all that she's doing for overnight soaking is done. At that time endoosmosis occurs. The seeds gets the water from the surrounding, and what happened in the morning, they just swell up. So that is the process of endoosmosis. And if you dry them in harsh sun, in the sunlight, then after some time they will just get shrink. Okay, so that means cell is withdrawing its water outside, and that the process of exoosmosis here, shrinkage occurs. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss.
All these things are done at our home on the regular basis. Just biology is giving you the names for this process, and you all have seen this at your home from the day you understood the way your mother works in the kitchen. Okay, so this is not a big thing. This is not the thing which something you can see only in the lab or something like that. It is almost daily processes there, and just you know the names now. You know the scientific terms for them. So that is how the endoosmosis and exoosmosis is occurring. Now, due to this endoosmosis and exoosmosis, what is happening that this particular process will show some of the things, some of the terms we will see that uh, the thing which is happening with the plant, that is when cell is having endoosmosis process, then the cells are turgid. That means if this is a cell wall and cell membrane is over here with all the organelles inside it, okay, and each and every organelle is having enough amount of H2O, the cytoplasm is having a good amount of water, then what will happen that this cell will exert a pressure, all these organelles will exert the pressure on the cell membrane, and that pressure will be absorbed by the cell wall, and this particular pressure which is developed because of the uh, good water molecule inside it and due to endoosmosis, this pressure is called osmotic pressure. Okay. So that means the H2O molecules are exerting a pressure on the membranes, and because each and every organelle is also having a membrane around it, and all these membrane are completely fully turgid, fully have the availability of water. So they were all swell up, and swelling of all of them will just exert a pressure on the membranes, and that will create a good osmotic pressure. You have seen when you soak the seeds for the overnight, that sometimes what happens that the if you soak the chana and all that, you can see that peel of that seed sometimes separates from the seed. You must have seen that.
Yes, miss. Sometimes I have
Sometimes it
observed that.
yes, that is due to osmotic pressure the seeds feels inside it. So that is why it separates. It gets detached from it just because of osmotic pressure. This is happening, and this when this is happening, that uh, all this cell content, whatever the this is the pressure of the osmosis. This is happening, and uh, uh, see what happens that osmotic pressure is the one pressure which allows the water to move inside the cell. That means a cell when have the tendency to take up the water, and that tendency creates a osmotic pressure. Suppose if you take a dried shrinked cell, and that shrinked cell will take the water very in a very fast manner in comparison to the one which is swelled up. Okay, so osmotic pressure for the shrinked cell is much more as compared to the swelled up. That means when we sorry, I should not use this term
Miss,
over
but
here.
who generates this pressure? Means osmotic pressure. Because I have a
That
doubt
is
in
what.
this osmotic pressure only.
Yeah. Just I should just leave it right now. Just I will take one more thing, that shrinkage when occurs. See that whenever there is a shrinkage of the seeds, then what will happen that uh, due to shrinkage the solute is comparatively more, and the solvent is almost nil. Okay, then what is happening that this particular cell will try to maintain that solvent solute balance, and because it is shrinked, it is shrink. Everything inside it, cytoplasm and all the cell organelles are also shrink accordingly, and all of them just are in need of water. So that means whenever it will be placed in water, this drying of the cell, or just drying of the cell organelles, will allow the uptake of water as fast as it can. Okay, so it will take up water from every side, and just that means, this is what we are saying, that this particular uptake of water, that means tendency of the cell to take up water molecule is of the cell is called osmotic pressure. Okay, so more osmotic pressure will be, is because dried one is having the more pressure inside it, more solute is there. So it will take up water much more faster as compared to the swelled one. So more osmotic pressure, more uptake of water will occur. Is it clear to you? Fine. Now let's move on this one.
Yes, miss. It's
Sorry.
clear.
Okay. Now move. I just used the wrong term over here. Some fault. Now because after uptaking of water, it becomes turgid, and due to this turgidity, it will create one another pressure that is called turgor pressure. Whatever I used the previous description, that means all the cell organelles will put the pressure on the cell wall and the cell membrane to that pressure will be named as the turgor pressure. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, miss. It's clear.
Okay, fine.
I have some
So,
doubt with miss that term osmotic pressure.
do ask me that.
Miss, I can't understand who creates that pressure. How does that pressure generate inside the cell? Means what kind of pressure it is? Means
It
how the pressure works.
absence of solvent molecule. uh,
Okay,
when
miss.
uh,
So,
when the solvent molecules are less in number, when the cell is having a lack of enough solvent, that when it is comparatively lesser as per the requirement, that creates that pressure to take up the water molecules from the surrounding.
oh, miss, it's just difference of concentrations.
Yes, it's just a difference of concentration. That's why what we see that it trees, if you talk about from the tip of the tree, that is till the leaf, and from the roots, the surrounding environment, the soil is having more water. Okay, the soil has more water, and that is just the cells inside these roots and the stem and all these leaves are having more solute concentration, and this will create the uptake osmotic pressure inside, and that will help in uptake of the water from the soil. Is
Is
it
then
clear to
just
you?
yes, miss. Then just osmotic pressure is just the tendency to take in water.
Yes, it's a tendency to take up the water from the surrounding.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Okay, and because of this pressure only, the cells are having that they can maintain its shape, maintain its uh, whole texture, it can be maintained. And
And miss,
yes dear.
miss, if in a humid day that transpiration stops, then miss, will the roots continue to absorb? Yes,
uh,
yes.
yes, now see, when we talk about transpiration on the humid day or a rainy day, if I say,
Yes, it stops now.
okay,
Really.
uh, you can't say it stops, but it
It
minimizes
decreases.
to a very negligible level. Okay, it goes to the negligible level. Definitely, it is there. The none of the process stops in the living cell or a living organism. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes, dear.
ma'am, my school classes link have come, so may I leave this meeting?
Yeah, sure, beta, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Right. So where was I? On humid day or a rainy day, it goes to a very negligible level because transpiration is occurring through leaves. Do you understand? It is
Yes, miss.
occurring through leaves, but rest of the other cells which are present on the other parts of the tree, they require that water which is being absorbed by roots. Okay, so that is that process. For that process it is absorbed, but it is in very little amount it is happening.
Oh, miss, I just wanted to know that is there any regulation for the roots also according to the conditions of the
For
environment?
absorption,
Yes, miss.
yes, definitely there is a regulation process. This one you will understand once you will get that part where you study the cell membrane structure in a very detailed manner. Okay, so because when we talk about osmosis and diffusion, we think about that what happens, that water and gases or the solutes, all these movements, we just think that it is happening just like it is entering through pores, it is restricted through pores. That is what you understand. But there are other so many other channels in the cell membrane which regulates all these things.
Okay, miss.
Okay, fine. So that is what is happening with the osmosis process. And now, are you clear with the osmotic pressure and the turgor pressure?
Yes, miss. Osmotic pressure is clear to me now.
Okay, fine. So this is what is happening, and just because of when the plants or any of the cell, if you take animal cell, if you take plant cell, any of the cell, you can see I think in your textbook it is given one picture that with the RBC it is happening, and with the plant cell one picture is shown. In that it is given that when you take up all water from it, then RBC gets shrinked, and plant cell also shows the shrinkage over there. Can you see that picture?
Miss, in the book?
Yes, in the textbook I think one column is there where animal cell and plant cell uh, is being shown.
Miss, animal cell. Okay, miss. In the first chapter, cell.
Not in this one only, in this one,
Oh, miss, in this
absorption
chapter.
diagrams.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss. It's
It is
that
there.
isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic one.
Okay, and this once the school starts, just ask your teacher. She will show this process live under the microscope. If you have a microscope, I can show you on the spot with the any of the plant cell. We can do this. Definitely, animals RBC we can take out, but you can definitely observe this process with the plant cell, and it's very easy. Just what you have to do is you have to prepare a slide for the microscope, and when you have a slide or a plant cell on it, and I think onion cell is the best one to understand. You must have seen just like the arrangement of bricks, uh, you have that observation. Then what happens that when this particular peel is placed on the slide, and it is with the help of water. Have you seen the preparation of slide?
Miss, preparation of what?
Preparation of slides which are placed under the microscope.
No, miss. I didn't get any chance to come close to the microscope only.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's then leave it. I'm just not telling you that. It will create much more confusion. Just see that when you have, you must have seen the onion cells, but
Yes, miss.
okay, fine. So what happens that when you place this onion cell like this, and you have, when you are watching under the microscope, surrounding it is completely a H2O. Okay, so the cells will be very much happily fully target, and they will be showing the whole surface of them. But now what you have to do is just suck this H2O, just dry it this up with the help of tissue. Just dry it up, and just place a salt solution over here. So once you place a salt solution in this, then what will happen? The water from the cell will move outside. This will occur.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and this will lead to the shrinkage of the
Shrinkage of the
cytoplasm.
Yes,
Okay,
miss.
this will happen, and you can see this live under the microscope. This is how beautiful this process can be observed.
Plasmolysis, this is no, miss.
Yes, this is called plasmolysis or plasmolysis. That means contraction or the shrinkage
Contraction
of
of
cytoplasm occurs because H2O is withdrawn. All H2O molecules are withdrawn by the
Drawn out, yes.
surrounding environment. So that is what the plasmolysis is, and that leads to the that means that leads to the cell become flaccid. This is called flaccid condition for the cell.
Yes, the
Okay.
condition is called flaccidity
Flaccid.
and the process is called plasmolysis.
Plasmolysis, yes. So cell become
That's
flaccid in
very
nature.
close.
Yeah, very close. And
Yes.
this is what is happening. And that means the cells lose its turgidity. When for previous condition, if you see the cells when like they are like this, that is called turgidity. The whole turgid cell you can see, but this type of cells are called flaccid cells, and the process because of the flaccid condition you are obtaining, that is due to the plasmolysis. Is it clear to you?
Okay.
Fine. So that is how the whole osmosis is related to each other, and it's a big, very wide topic. When you go in the lab with this, you can have a lot of experiments to understand this and do a lot many things with it for understanding. Okay, so that is how it is happening. So this one we took because with the plants osmosis is very active process, and it is very the process which is occurring almost in each and every part. Okay, so that's why we studied a little bit widely for this, and we can if till here if it is okay, then we can go for a active transport.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So active transport, we have to see it. See, that is why it is little bit difficult, because in the textbooks, some part is being followed in a very detailed explanation is there, and so for some part a very restricted explanation is there. So
Yes, miss.
you may have little bit of confusion, you may have some of the doubts. So that's why I am saying that when I am giving you the outline for that. Just read it, and if the doubts arises, then do ask me in the next class when you are reading the content.
Surely, miss.
Okay. So for active transport, not much is given, but do understand that it is for the basically the minerals from the soil. We are talking basically for the plants right now, so that's why we are talking about the minerals and ions in the soil part only. So ions and all that, and all these uh, the particles, all these molecules, when they are absorbed by the plant. Right? So
Is some problem with your network connection?
yes, I think I got disconnected.
Yes, miss.
Fine. So active transport means minerals and ions are taken by the roots. Now, what is see here the concept how it is working? That root cells, the cell.
I think your video is off.
Still the video is on? No, but it is on.
But I can see, Miss. Wait 1 second. Miss.
You not see the screen?
No, Miss.
Now?
Your video option is showing off. 1 minute, Miss.
So
Yes, Miss. Now it's okay.
it's okay now? Okay.
Yes, Miss.
What we are saying that when we talk about the root cell, and as root is connected to the whole plant, each and every cell adjacent to this particular cell will be following the for concentration mode over here. And what is happening that in the soil surrounding it, whatever the root cell is being surrounded with the soil, so concentration of minerals and ions in the root cell will always be more as compared to the surrounding. That you should know, because they absorb whatever is available in its surrounding. So they have the more concentration of minerals and ions inside as compared to the soil nearby its region. So what happens that still the plants want more, that whatever the concentration is over here, still the demand of the plant is very much higher, because if plant is big and all that is there, many of the processes are occurring like photosynthesis and all that. So demand of the plant is comparatively much more higher. So what happens is it still wants the minerals and ions from the surrounding. So that's why there comes in the picture the molecule called ATP, and this ATP will forcefully just take up all these minerals and ions inside the cell. And if you refer some of the books, then you will understand that in the membrane of these root cell, they have a pump. I already told you that there are so many other channels which are restricting all these
Yes,
movement.
Miss.
Okay, so you will come across this word called pump. Okay, and this pump will act with the take up the energy from the ATP, and it will forcefully put all these minerals and ions inside the cell of the plant. Understood? And because huge amount of energy is being utilized over here, this process is called active transport.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so it is just the way students are being pushed inside the classroom. When they see the principal, that is what is happening. Huge energy,
Yes.
and they have forcibly they have to move inside. So this is what the active transport is happening in the plants also. So only very little amount of explanation is there, but if you go for reference, definitely you will come across lot many words. So just do understand that that will come when you go for the 11th and 12th biology. So wait till now. Okay.
Yes, Miss. I refer two books. Miss, one concise, one candid
Okay.
evergreen.
Another one is
Candid, Miss. Candid.
candid. Okay. Okay. Fine. So if in candid, if something is different is there, just ask
Yes,
me.
Miss.
Just
Miss, the information level is much more than concise, as I have seen.
okay. Fine. In the candid publication.
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Fine. That is good. But I think for class 10th, this much is
No, Miss.
more than
That's all
enough.
right.
Okay.
But for
Yeah.
the competitive exams, means I have to study.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it is there. And uh, when you read all these things, you will come across that the whole chapter is placed on one topic, like something like that you will feel. Okay.
Yes, Miss. In class
If
11 and 12.
yes, that's what you will see. You have a special chapter for transportation, and that we will see afterwards. And see this till your active transport is done, and uh, all these osmotic pressure, turgor pressure, and active transport, all these transports when they are occurring, uh, what they do, basically what they provide to the cell. So that means the whole concept of transportation, whole concept of these diffusion, osmosis, all these methods, they provide first of all to maintain the cell shape. The shape can be maintained, the shape
Yes.
of cell can be maintained, and all the soft tissues can maintain their youth. So basically, if you use the English word for it, the plant is young because all these processes can be maintained easily by the plants. So that's why plant remain green, plant remain very much erect, and all these things are done. So rigidity and the strength of the soft tissue is just because of the osmosis, diffusion, and all these things. And second thing is that you can see that the seed, which is very tender in its nature, it can when it give rises to the root, it can push the hard ground, that is soil, easily. Okay, it just pierce that particular layer, and it is all because of this turgor pressure and osmotic pressures and all that.
Yes.
So that is why this pressure is very much required. Then all the root which is readily uptaking the mineral science, water, everything. Root is like always give everything to me. So all these that pressure which the root creates is nothing but the root pressure, and it is are all these pressures are just um, supporting or
Taking in something.
facilitating that particular root pressure to develop that root pressure. And from the above the ground, this is also because transpiration is happening, that's why root is developing that pressure to uptake everything from the soil. Okay. And the one which you read, that is opening and closing also of stomata, that is also depending on definitely osmotic pressure, because K plus ion intake, if you study that theory, it is also a movement of solute
Yes, yes.
solvent, and hypertonic situation is maintained by the nearby cells, and that is why the opening and closing of the stomata is facilitated. And all these movement of the water from one cell to adjacent cell and each and every part, that turgor movement is also maintained by this type of processes. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss. It's clear.
Okay. And uh, the root pressure is nothing but that each and every cell, that means from cell to cell, from tip of the root to tip of the leaf, osmosis is being continued. And that cell to cell osmosis should occur, and that is just because of root pressure. And I think last time we did that guttation and bleeding and all that.
Yes, miss. In transpiration
So
chapter.
yes, definitely this is for like on the leaves, tip of the leaves, you have seen the water droplets, and it is just because of the pressure created by the roots and its uptake, its ability to uptake the huge amount of water from the surrounding. And excessive, definitely plant will not hold any excessive thing inside, it will definitely release it through any of the means. You must have seen root pressure, you can see that whenever you just tear up any part of the plant, then much amount of fluid comes out, and it just oozes out easily. That much, how much pressure it can hold in the xylem, and the vessel which is responsible for the water transport. And that much you must have seen when big trees are being slaughtered, when they are uh, cutted from their base or something, you can see a huge amount of liquid oozes out from the, just like the droplets and or the
Yes, miss. Yes, that's
that
the
you
bleeding part.
yes, bleeding part. And that is the root, due to the root pressure, because root is holding so much of pressure to give everything against the gravity. and that's why you can see that those thing when you just tear up the plant in any of the from any of the part or in any of the direction. So this is how it is happening, and this all these things helps in the ascent of sap. Do you understand this stuff?
This ascent of sap, it means as far as I
That
understand, means taking up
yes,
the absorbed water and the mineral salts from the roots to the leaves.
to the leaves. That means against the gravity, that
Yes, miss, against the gravity.
it should be maintained in the plants. So definitely for the if you see guttation and all that, basically this can be seen in the herbs. When you when you see the root pressure, if we talk about this, then it is very much easier for the herbs to show it, because like grass and all that, they have a comparatively lesser height, and in the morning on the tip of the grass you can see droplet is hanging like this. So it
Yes,
is very much easier to see that, and uh, uh, root just continue its process, it will not stop, and that makes the grass something like this, and it shows the process of guttation. And you can have a capillary action also with the, when we talk about xylem. Okay,
yes,
for
miss.
xylem, capillary action is nothing but you must have seen that when you just when what you do when you just hold the straw inside a liquid, inside your juices or coconut water, you must have seen, just put the straw and cover it from the top, and just take up that straw, you can see that that particular liquid will be seen inside that straw, because you have created a vacuum from the top of the region. Have you seen that?
Miss, yeah, miss, I've seen, I think.
Just do that when you are having a packed juices and all that. When you put the straw and just cover it from the top and pull out the straw from it, and you can see that juice will be arrested in that particular straw for uh, till wherever the capillary action is being occurred. Now
Yes,
see how this capillary pull is nothing but, you can see the capillary tubes in the your chemistry lab. They are very thin and they are having a very small diameter. You cannot imagine that they have the diameter even the micrometers. Okay, so how this is how thin they are. And the power of the capillary tube is that when you put them in the liquid, they just create some type of pull, capillary pull, and they will fill that tube with that particular liquid on its own. You don't have to suck up, you don't have to create any of the negative pressure to pull it up. It just will be entering inside on its own. That is what the capillary action is. And xylem are naturally programmed capillary tubes. They have so many tubes inside them. Small. So lesser the diameter, the stronger the pull will be. Understood?
yes, miss.
Okay, so you can see on capillary, just type capillary tube on the Google and you will come across that how thin they can be. So the xylem are also programmed accordingly in the plants. And definitely transpiration will create its effort to give this scent of sap. Transpiration pool is definitely one of the important one. And then you have another one, that is cohesion and adhesion thing.
Yes, miss. Cohesive force and
That
adhesive.
means yes, H2O
Cohesion with the water
molecules,
molecule
yes, similar molecules, while
and adhesion
adhesion
with the
that
walls.
with the walls, with the cell walls, when the water molecule is being added, and that should be in continuous row. uh, there should not be any breakdown in between the water molecules. So that is what is happening. All these things are helping the plant to maintain that turgidity, maintain that the rigidity of all the cells, and maintain the youth of the plant. Is it clear to you?
Yes, miss, it's clear.
Okay, and in between there are so many 2-3 experiments are there, and when I have just seen them, I think you will when you read it, and when if you want to see it on the like something on app or somewhere, just see them. I don't think it needs an explanation from my side.
Okay, miss. Okay.
Okay, just above this all these characteristics where it is given when you are
Miss,
finishing.
miss, that experiment of cutting out the phloem and the xylem, girdling.
Yes, because
Miss, that
that
okay, miss, I've read that. Miss, it's just showing that xylem is inside and the phloem is outside.
yes, so that means when you see that when you see have a plant and you can chop from the top surface, if you see that xylem is here and phloem is here, that is how it is being arranged.
Yes, miss.
Okay, and you just have to see the you can see those experiments on the net also, and that's the way you can understand them, because theoretically it is like it is not explainable the way it is given. Okay, so just see to it and read it, read the chapter, every part of it, just don't leave any a word of it, and if you have any doubts, just give them, you can put them on the my personal number also, and anywhere, uh,
Yes, miss.
or in the next class we will see them.
Okay, miss. Thank you so much.
Right, and next chapter, which one will be okay for you all?
Miss, then let me say once, miss, after photosynthesis, we generally had the plant coordination hormones, that chapter, but
Okay,
that is now removed from our syllabus.
yes, yes.
So that chapter, if we leave, then we have circulatory system and human anatomy comes inside.
Okay, now we can move toward in that basically because you have
The
circulatory
systems that are present in our syllabus, that are all the systems are present. Means circulatory, nervous, excretory, sensory.